Good morning, Knack Daddy. It is episode 4 of Embrace Debate. We're back. I'm in a new spot. My family kicked me out of the house, so I'm in the hallway between my house and my grandmother's apartment. Um, Everyone else is back. Tony's back
Yes.
after his little hiatus from his BS excuse of not following football. But we are back with another baseball pod. This week we will be talking about the Blake Snell debate. We'll have that one, and then we are going to go over our shredder. Basically, I have the MLB.com one. Each of us have done our top 5 at each position, except outfield. We just have one category, which I think is going to be a hot topic on today's pod about who's in the top 5 of just the outfielders. So first, we'll start with the Blake Snell stuff. I know Will has had the most amount of takes regarding Blake Snell. So, Will, why don't you kick us off?
I think it's more of a issue of just baseball happening in general. So Blake Snell obviously came out in the last 24 hours saying that if he doesn't get full compensation, he's not going to play based off the risk. And Bryce Harper's already backed him for it. I've been pretty firm in the stance of baseball's without a doubt coming back, but this has been probably the hardest time for me to think it's actually coming back because this is two pretty prominent players. Bryce Harper may be the face of baseball for all that he does, saying that he doesn't get fully compensated. He's not coming back. Former Cy Young winner and Blake Snell said he's probably not going to come back unless he gets fully compensated. So if the owners don't bite the bullet, I do fear that we might not have baseball, which is the hardest pill to swallow out of it.
So basically what the owners have said is that they want the players to take a 50% tax cut and then a pay cut, sorry, not a tax cut. And then there was something else about a 33% cut for the revenue share.
It's their basic taxes. So their taxes on the money they are going to make they're going to take that, which is just basic how the world works.
Right, I get that. But so basically what you're asking them to do is cut 50% of the money that's already being taken out of their pocket.
Well, they're cutting 67% if they cut the extra.
Which,
whatever.
In my opinion, those guys, Blake was right when he's saying he's going out there to risk his life to he's not saying that he's risking his life to play. Obviously, I don't think anyone has ever died from baseball in the last 100 years or so.
So it's not trying to catch a ball from Josh Hamilton.
That was a fan.
And I think he was dicking around.
Josh Hamilton tossed the guy the rock, and this guy went full-blown Buzz Lightyear off the second deck trying to catch it.
Somebody murdered a guy playing baseball. He didn't die.
True.
He's probably hammered too. Let's be honest.
He was with
the guy. Was that the guy who fell over the railing in Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, he was right next to his son, which was I don't know.
I remember the guy.
His first baseball game that he ever went to too.
I remember the guy in Atlanta too in the Yankee game. He fell over into the family section.
Oh well.
The other scary part is kids just getting smoked by foul balls.
Yeah.
They don't die, but they're definitely
Pay attention.
too good athletes.
Anyway,
look
paying attention.
like the guy from the Goonies after they get hit.
Didn't Tom Frazier hit a 6-year-old? I don't think 6-year-olds really got any chance against a 100-mile-per-hour line ball.
All right.
No.
Back to Snell. But yeah, honestly, they are risking their well-being to go out and play, obviously, with the virus and all this stuff. But, if I was a player, I'd want to be fully compensated. It may not be 100% of what you're going to get. It would just be you getting 82 game checks. It sounds like
81, but okay. Basically, my spin on it is that the MLB is not going to progress with an actual season if they're genuinely feeling as though they're going to put the players' health and their families and stuff, all their health in jeopardy. So, there's a time and place for comments, and I don't think going on a rant on your Twitch live stream was the place for Blake Snell to kind of speak out. Do I agree with them? Yes. I think it'd be hard for these athletes to commit. Same way the NBA is talking about how they would essentially have to take 67% pay cuts for the duration of their season. I don't know. It's just such a wishy-washy topic in my opinion because I don't think the MLB would progress in having a season if they were in circumstances where the players would have life-threatening like potential to lose their lives that way with the coronavirus.
I mean, I could go on. I could go off on a Corona take, but we're not going to get political today.
Argument for another day. Honestly, I hated everything that Blake Snell said. He sounds so tone deaf.
He sounds like he smokes a pack a day too.
Well, I mean that too. I'm talking figuratively. You mean literally. But he sounds so tone deaf with saying that these are major professional athletes that are getting paid millions and millions of dollars, and they're going out and playing baseball. And he's complaining that he's not going to take a pay cut when there's millions of people out there who are now unemployed, and he's talking about risking his life. Yet there are people like nurses and doctors and first responders on the front lines who haven't
Don't
gotten
have a choice.
yeah, who don't have a choice. They haven't gotten a pay raise whatsoever, and they're the true heroes. Let's get that straight. And Snell is acting like, well, yes, baseball is a great distraction. We all want it really badly. What he is doing is not saving anybody's life. He's still getting paid millions of dollars for the sport that he loves. And I think the fact that you can make that argument that he does is just laughable. Also, leave that shit to the Players Association. Let them make the argument. You go down a Twitch feed and saying that is not going to accomplish anything. You look worse, honestly. Leave that to Tony Clark in the Players Association and have him negotiate a good deal for you and just shut the fuck up.
Who's the the spokesperson for the players?
Tony Clark.
It's Tony Clark. He's the head of the
No, but from the league. Like a player.
Look that up.
It was Curtis Granderson, but
It was at one point. He's right, but I'm not sure.
Still is, I think. No, it still is because he's not committed to retiring. He did retire.
Retired.
Is it Buster Posey?
No.
I thought I've heard Buster's name thrown around.
I don't know.
I don't know. Keep going. I'll figure that part out.
Let's see. State of it. Honestly, how many games would you guys honestly think is going to be played this year?
I think they could get in around 90 games.
I think anything under 80, it's gonna not be worth it in some respects.
Well, there's going to be an asterisk in any sports season that goes on during this, like the NBA, which I believe we're going to eventually talk about. There's going to be an asterisk next to the championship trophy there. There's going to be an asterisk next to the MLB trophy here. So, I mean, it's either they go full on and these owners in the league don't lose out on the millions, almost billions of dollars that they're pretty much losing at the moment, or they just decide to take the L for the year. I mean, to me, it's mind-boggling to think that Snell went on Twitch and basically told people he's mentally preparing for the 2021 season. Like, to me, that's like he's already in his mind not going to show up. And then I believe Manfred said yesterday or earlier today about how he would never force anyone to come to work. So that could be up to a whole different debate if players and other teams and stuff decide not to show up too, how that's going to alter the season as well.
Yeah, I don't know if any of you guys saw, but they have proposed coronavirus regulations for the season.
Oh, they're doing everything every day.
There you go. You're testing almost every single day. The player tests positive, he's not allowed to come back until he tests negative twice. They seem to be
24 hours too.
Yeah, so that they're going to be taking it very seriously. And I think the safety of the players will be handled correctly. So for him to come out and say that when he's not really in the head office hearing what they're going to be doing, it's a little bit arrogant and ignorant.
I think it's going to be funny if they have baseball and then he shows up. Because he's going to get heckled and just be called a hypocrite for it.
Well, no, he's gonna be sitting at home after 2 days of spring training and realizing he's not getting paid for doing his Twitch feeds. He's gonna show up. He's gonna show back up.
Yeah, he's got to secure the bag, and I think he's just trying to maximize the bag.
He's already
that's the point.
Bag, he's not taking a pay cut that Gleyber Torres or some of these young guys that are still not even into arbitration. He got a bag.
Yeah, but these guys have millions of dollars.
Oh yeah.
Snell
already signed a deal that was, I believe, 4 years, $50 million. It was slightly above what Severino got.
What's Snell's deal?
I'm pretty sure it's like I know it's like 4 for 50 or 5 for 50, something like that.
The Rays always do that. They always do. They don't like going through the arbitration process and getting fucked by
They
giving.
just trade everyone the year before they drew a free agent.
Well, that too. But I'm saying even before they don't even want to go through the arbitration process. They bet on guys like Matt Moore. Was it? They gave him a contract for like 6.
Yeah, Longo was like a guy that they had for like nothing for a really long time.
I thought the Giants were the team that paid Matt Moore.
Blake signed a 5-year, $50 million contract, all 50 guaranteed with an average base value of $10 million a year.
There's no not guaranteed contracts in baseball.
Let's see. I'm just reading this off the website.
Oh,
Last year he only made $1 million.
It's probably
well, it's
kicks
still
in.
That was the year
pre-arbitration.
before the
I think
yeah.
This
it was.
year,
I think it kicks in after this season.
this year he's
I had
slated to
correct.
make 7
Yeah. Mhm.
before increasing to 10-5, 12-5, 16 before hitting free agency in 2024 as a 31-year-old.
Going to be on the trade market pretty soon. Sounds like it. Right before that 16 million year season.
Right.
Take him in New York, baby.
But honestly, I don't even see him getting traded. Like, they're good.
They don't care.
Pushing the East for sure.
They don't care if they're good or not. They trade arguably one of their best players every single offseason.
As soon as they bring up Wander Franco and Vidal, I think they're going to be good.
Yeah, but I mean, they also got away with the biggest heist in the last couple of years with trading Chris Archer for Glasnow and Meadows. So
No, I agree. All right. Let's move on.
Wait, just to wrap this up, how many? I mean, I'm pretty firm now that I don't think the season's going to happen. Is anybody like? What are your opinions? Is anybody else in this camp?
I'm thinking 81, 82. They're going to try to get half a season. I think that once you present the fact that these guys may not get paid, especially some of the guys like the bottom 75% who isn't getting paid the millions and millions of dollars, they're going to decide that they're going to play this year.
Yeah, I definitely think they're gonna play, but they're gonna incorporate a lot more doubleheaders just to like get more games in a short amount of time.
So if you see 81, how do you see the divisions playing out? Do you think it's going to be the same divisions, or do you think they're all going to be like
The only way they don't do the divisions they're doing right now is if they do go with that biodome of there's a couple different proposals of 3 cities, 1 city, or 2 cities.
one.
That's the only way the divisions will change, in my opinion.
They have 2 of the 3 states fully open for professional sports now.
All 3
Yeah,
of them. are basically.
Texas-
Florida
Texas
opened up.
is pretty much open. Florida's been open with their
No,
beach.
but the governor of Florida and of Arizona said that professional sports teams like are open to do their activities and stuff again.
And before we went on, I saw that California, I'm not sure if this was just a deal that maybe the Lakers themselves, they allowed the Lakers
Yeah.
to go back and train in their
Yeah,
facilities.
like
So I'm not
20
sure if that's just applying to the Lakers.
LeBron
or-
probably dished the governor a couple mil.
I just saw something on
Yeah.
Bleacher Report that like 22 of the NFL facilities are open.
So with that being said, well, this will be a last point. New York obviously has been the worst state.
New York and Louisiana are going to be the last 2 to officially open, but
Right.
New York seems like their numbers compared to the rest of the country are starting to go down. If you hear the Cuomo briefings, they're
Right. But do you think that the Yankees or the Mets play one single home game this year?
Oh, for
Yes.
sure.
You
Yeah,
do?
If it happens and it
Empty
goes off
stadium.
the only like concrete point we've seen, which is the Plouffe and Phil Hughes reports, then yes. But we really still have no idea even what their plan is going to be.
no fans, but it will be. They will at least be.
They will play home games.
Yeah, no fans. Well, I mean, maybe fans with social distancing, so like letting like maybe 10,000 fans.
but that would be a gradual thing. That wouldn't be right away.
Yeah, I
it's
think
nothing
that's-
more than that. That's the extreme of what I think can happen.
I think the KBO started out with no fans, and I think when I saw that they were doing 2,000 fans per game.
No,
There's
there's
still no
no fans yet.
They're just they're
No,
posters.
That's the plan. Trevor, that's the plan
Yeah.
to eventually get to 2,000 fans.
Right. That's what I meant.
That's what I
Yeah,
watch when I'm awake at 5:30 a.m.
Yeah.
They get cardboard cutouts and just pump in
Mhm.
some crowd noise for
Yeah.
now.
NC Dinos, baby.
They
This
suck.
might be an NC Dinos pod by the
Mm-mm.
They're the best team in the league. They're like 8-1.
I've watched.
Watch them blow
No
a 6.
chance
They
of
scored
coming
6 runs in the first inning and then lost the game.
Hey,
I'll
they're
bet
still
they
8-1. 8-1's 8-1.
I bet the LG Twins that night too.
Of course you did.
All right. We're gonna move on to the topic that's probably gonna take up a lot of your time. And we're going to move on to the shredder. Like I said, each one of us has a top 5 at each position. I have the top 5 from each position. We will start with the starting pitchers. The MLB.com shredder has the top 5 at this was this year's that came out preseason. DeGrom, Verlander, Cole, Scherzer, and Ryu are your top 5. We'll start with Jimmy. Give me your top 5 starters.
All right, so my top 4 are pretty intact. Like, I don't think it's really changeable in my opinion. I have DeGrom 1, Garrett Cole 2, Max Scherzer 3, Jack Flaherty I have at 4, and then my 5 is a toss-up between either Snell or Sale. When Sale's healthy, I think he's number 5.
Okay, Tony.
I got DeGrom number 1, Scherzer 2, Cole 3, Verlander 4, and then Flaherty 5.
I'm just gonna say this. That is exactly my top 5. So Tony and I agree.
I know what you're talking about.
Go ahead, Billy.
I just think Verlander falls.
All right, so I'm gonna be the outlier, and I'm gonna probably be a homer, but the stats do back it. Based off last year, Garrett Cole is the best pitcher in baseball, in my opinion. So these are last year's numbers compared to DeGrom. He had more innings. He allowed less hits, 70 more strikeouts, 4 less walks. Their ERAs were basically
Wow, 4
identical.
whole walks.
Yeah, their stats are literally like identical. And
Yeah, but DeGrom's won 2 Cy Youngs in a row.
He's been more consistent the past few years.
Fuck.
I just
All
think
right,
Cole-
listen.
Cole's
You
younger, he's
know
gonna
what's
take that next
real
step.
when a Washington Nationals fan is giving Jacob DeGrom the nod.
I'm an unbiased
I
baseball.
mean, National fans aren't as petty as Mets fans, so I don't really have to
All right.
Yeah,
Let's
they
just
can
go.
all suck as much
What-
dick as Yankee fans.
What's the rest of the list?
DeGrom 2, Scherzer 3, Verlander 4, Jack Flaherty 5.
Harry.
Similar but not exact. DeGrom 1, Cole 2. I can't argue with the 2 straight Cy Young awards. That's just you gotta give it to him. Scherzer 3. I got Verlander 4, and a name I haven't heard yet. I thought about Flaherty, and I thought about also Luis Castillo. I like him a lot, but the guy I put in was Charlie Morton. Consistent, underrated pitcher who gets absolutely no attention. I think he's a top 5 pitcher in baseball.
Knack Attack.
So I didn't put them in order, but I had Cole, DeGrom, Scherzer, Verlander, and then I threw in Walker Buehler. I think that
He's
fifth
not crazy
spot is
outside.
kind of up in the air and can be argued in multiple different ways, and I thought Buehler held the spot for me. So
For the record, I want to say in those predictions that we made at the prior podcasts that I had Walker Buehler winning the Cy Young. I think at the year he'll be top 5, but at this moment in time, he doesn't have the accolades as the other pitchers do and the numbers to put him in the top 5. And also, I just want to make this clear, Jimmy, what the fuck's going on with your name?
I'm the GOAT, mate.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
I think one guy we do got to consider too is Strasburg after his healthy. I mean, after his postseason last year, you can't argue that, and he's been healthier the past few years. And I think if he stays healthy, he'll definitely.
He just needs to be that Strasburg more often than he's not.
Yeah, he's,
Strasburg, in my opinion.
he's more of just a thrower using his velo, but now he's actually turning into a pitcher with his changeup, curveball, just like mixing stuff up. I think he's going to improve if he stays healthy.
You
Yeah,
know,
he's
so
Crawford.
consistently than I would agree with
The
that.
number 5 spot is really based on whoever's hot, in my opinion. That's why, like, when Snell's on his best, when Sale's on his best, Verlander, Strasburg, Buehler, there's like 6, 7 names that you can put at number 5.
Another name that I saw that cracked the top 10 in the shredder was Mike Clevenger.
He's not.
He's not top 5 material, but honestly, that he is.
It's because he has crazy. Him and Bieber have crazy upside.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
dude,
Clevenger's old. Clevenger's almost 30.
Doug's old and he keeps getting hurt.
yeah.
That's the one thing. That's also true. There's a
But, like,
reason.
When
Shane
he's
Bieber.
at his best,
Shane Bieber is gonna be nasty.
He's
when
like 25, I think.
when Clev is at his best, Clev is without a doubt a top 10 pitcher in this league. He's disgusting. Bieber's gross too. And I remember listening to Bauer Bites. They were talking about Bieber. Bieber comes in, came in at like 21. He came into his first big league camp, and they said he was throwing like 92, 93. And then like the next year later, he came up and they were like, dude, you know you could throw like 96, right? And he goes out and he hit 96 in a bullpen. And then since then, he hasn't hit anything less than 95. It's literally
crazy
like
what kind of just takes you off. It's like
right.
a little bit of a Homer story. When Jeff Hoffman was pitching at Shaker and Coach Frank and Coach Jones put him into like he wasn't a pitcher until his late sophomore year of high school. So basically, Coach Frank was at one of the JV games and saw him throw out somebody at the plate as a freshman. And then he kind of started developing him as a pitcher. And I think from the summer before he went to his junior season, he was throwing only mid-80s. And then at the end of the season, he was throwing 92. And that's in high
He'd
school.
already been playing at South Troy at that point.
Yeah.
It's like a personal, like, no, I don't know how many people know who South Troy is, but just
Mhm.
local stuff. So we'll move on to the relievers. MLB had number 1 is Kirby Yates, 2 Chapman, 3 Hader, 4 Hendricks, and 5 Ryan Presley. Tony, why don't you give us your top 5 for the relievers?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I put Kirby Yates at number 1. He's been the most clutch relief pitcher the past few years, and you need that when you're a reliever. Then I got Hader, Chapman, Liam Hendricks, and Seth Lugo.
Yeah, I'll just go next because that's literally mine. Those top 5 are mine. Just different order. Chapman, Hader, Yates, Lugo, Hendricks.
Billy,
I'll take
Shout out Edwin Diaz and Betances if they're healthy this year.
not even close to being top 10.
I think
Diaz, but
Betances is healthy, and then, I mean Edwin only had 1 year, so we'll see. But
He only had 1 bad year too, though.
I think he's been in the league longer than that. But anyway,
3 years.
So my one's Josh Hader, just because he has the versatility. He's going multiple innings, back-to-back reliever of the year in the NL. Chapman, back-to-back AL reliever in the year in the AL. I mean, most dominant maybe, and if his slider continues to improve, he'll get some longevity in his career. Kirby Yates, just been great the last couple of years. Liam Hendricks, and then Roberto Ozuna. I mean, he's a horrible guy, but he's got great stuff.
Harry?
That was Chapman.
I went with Chapman 1. I like to see both regular season and postseason performances. He has pitched well in both. Kirby Yates is 2. He's been the best regular season reliever of the past couple of years. I went Roberto Ozuna 3. Actually,
Wow.
I like a guy who can close, and I had issues with last year. Josh Hader has a tendency when they hit the ball, it goes far when Josh hits. So he's got an issue with getting a home run. So that's why I put Josh Hader at 4. And this is a homer pick, but the numbers back it up.
And
Zach Britton
had
a 1.91 ERA last year. He went I think it was 25 2/3 consecutive innings without allowing a run. That's Sanker.
Yeah.
Best pitches in baseball. He probably is the best setup man in baseball, and he has shown that he can also be a great closer. So that's fine.
I flirted with Ottavino as well. Ottavino, his postseason was horrible, which is really what pushed him away.
That's why I couldn't put him.
But he did have a sub-2 ERA, and then I mean, any of the 4 guys in the Yankees bullpen, you could definitely make a case for them to sneak in. They all had great seasons last year.
Well, who's the 4th?
What's in that water bottle, mate?
Who?
Canley.
He's too inconsistent.
He's not better than Lugo.
I didn't say it was.
Lugo's had 1 good year.
So is Canley.
I would say Chad Green's probably better than is up there. I mean, I have Lugo in my top 5 too, but Chad Green's up there too.
Yeah.
All right, Mac.
I had Josh Hader, Aroldis Chapman, Kirby Yates, Liam Hendricks, and then Roberto Osuna.
Big Osuna guys on here. I went Hader, Chapman, Yates, a guy we have not talked about yet, and that is Taylor Rogers and Seth Lugo.
Talk about a 1-year wonder.
Rogers.
You don't know that was a 1-year wonder though. He could be consistent.
Well, I mean, relievers are the most volatile. So once you get to that bottom 5, you could just be throwing darts, and I won't have any problems with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Rogers coming out of the pen, another lefty, awesome sinker, good curveball. I think he's probably, if, like I said, we do have a season, I think he's going to be up there.
Yeah, he is. He has good upside, especially with that offense.
Yeah, no,
he's going to be in position to close out a lot of games.
Right. That's a great, I think the Twins are a great team. So I think that he'll be in a good spot. We'll move on to the backstops. MLB.com had Grandal, Real Muto, Contreras, Garver, and Sanchez as its top 5. Willie, what do you got for your top 5?
So for my top 2, it's pretty interchangeable if you want to go JT or Grandal. I think JT is probably a little bit better defensively. Grandal's a little bit better offensively. Third, I went with maybe the most scary offensive catcher in the league. Up to this point, the scariest power hitting catcher ever, Gary Sanchez. Wilson Contreras 4 and Mitch Garver 5.
Harry?
That was mine exactly. I had Grandal 1, Realmuto 2, Sanchez 3, Contreras 4, and Garver 5. Couldn't agree more.
Knack?
Also, actually, identical.
Really?
Yeah, JT and Grandal.
So I went with Real Muto was 1 because if it's a playoff game,
Did you have a brain?
Huh?
Did you have a brain that works?
Not really. I wanted someone back. I as a catcher, I prefer defense to offense, honestly. So I went with Real Muto 1, Grandal 2. I went with Contreras 3, Sanchez 4, and Garver 5. What do you got, Jimbo?
I mean, if we're talking about one-year wonders, Garver is definitely up there with that too.
Honestly,
Well, the problem with Garver was he was so horrible defensively. Like, he was like Gary Sanchez. Nobody knew about it.
Yeah.
And then they got the guy. Like, I don't know too much about this guy. I think his name's like Eric Swanson. The Yankees just brought him in to hopefully try to help Gary behind the plate as well.
Yeah, I mean, mine's essentially the same thing. I think 5 is another scenario where whomever's hot could be anywhere from Garver to – don't sleep on Will Smith from the Dodgers. I think he has good upside. Christian Vasquez had a good year last year. I wouldn't put him in my top 5. But Wilson Ramos, Omir Narvaez, those are all fringe top 5 guys in my.
What about Roberto Perez?
He's
Not
really
a good
good
hitter,
but he
probably-
My guy didn't bat his weight last year.
Yeah, but he's the best defensive catcher in the league. It's not even close. He didn't have – actually, I said that. He didn't have one pass ball all year.
No,
Last year.
it's
That's
great.
pretty
I don't
damn good.
dispute that, but
That rotation helps him with that, though.
I'm not – I mean, every pitcher in
but
baseball
it-
should have to
he
be able
helps
to play pass
rotation.
balls. But 0 pass balls for an entire major league season, that's impressive.
Oh, it's definitely impressive. Thing is with him is you have to become more complete. I
Yeah,
think it's the
he's
same
good.
way that people questioned Yadier Molina for so long, and now he's arguably a better hitter than he is a catcher.
Tony, finish it up. What you got for your 5?
Yeah, I think mine was the same thing as yours, actually. I had JT, Grandal, Contreras, Gary, and Garver.
Yep, that was mine. All right, moving over to first base. First base for the MLB was kind of questionable from in my point of view. They let off with Freddie, who I think is undoubtedly number 1, but then they went Muncy, Alonso, Rizzo, Goldschmidt. I think Muncy played more second base than he did first base last year.
Yeah, I have Muncy on my list as a second baseman.
I'll put him at
Anyway.
first base for mine just because MLB put him at first.
Anyway, thoughts about Muncy being ahead of Alonso before we get to our top 5.
That's whack. Don't get me started with that.
Let's see. Harry, you're up for first baseman.
yeah, like you said, Freddie Freeman, he's undoubtedly the best first baseman in baseball. A guy who didn't crack their top 5 list, who I think is going to have a breakout season this year, is Matt Olson. I think he is him in that one of the smoothest left-handed swings there is in baseball. I think he is the second best. I got Goldschmidt 3. It took him. It's going to take him a year to get used to St. Louis. That was last year, and I think he's going to be more comfortable this season. Pete Alonso 4. If he continues what he was doing, I think he's definitely trending up. But I just need to see more than just the one season. And then Carlos Santana, after his great return,
Santana!
I have him at 5.
Mac, what do you got?
I think you got like poking the bear and putting Pete at like 3-4. I like seeing Jimmy's face get all red. I'm considering just switching my list so I can piss off Jimmy a little bit more.
Nice.
But I had Freeman 1. I mean, undoubtedly. I put Petey at 2. There you go, Jimbo. And then
Yeah.
I had Rizzo, Goldschmidt, and Olsen.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go next. I have Freeman 1, Alonzo 2, Olsen 3, Rizzo 4, Goldschmidt 5.
I'll take. I went Freeman. I do believe in Muncie. I think he's just a tank.
I think Muncie's up there, but I just have him at second base because that's where he primarily played last year.
I have Olsen. I love his glove, and he just rakes. P. Alonso 4, and then Goldschmidt 5, hoping that he can bounce back this year.
All right.
Yeah, you want to go, Trev?
Finishing.
Tony's got to go too.
Tony, you didn't go.
Yeah, I'll go. I got Freddie at number 1, Pete at 2, Matt Olson at 3, Rizzo at 4, and then if you consider Muncie a first baseman, I got him 5.
Honestly, I think Muncie's more of a second. I don't. Well, it depends this year because
No, because Lux is going to play second.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a first baseman.
so he'll play first this year.
Yeah. I just had it based on last year.
That's based on last year. That's what I had it at too. For me, I went obviously Freeman, like I said. Big Schmeat Pete is number 2 for me. And then I agree with Harry's statement about Matt Olson. I think Matt Olson's got one of the sweetest swings, probably the best defensive first baseman in the league as well. Goldie, if he can figure it out, big Goldie guy.
Yeah, but we're talking about Paul Goldschmidt having a bad year.
Didn't he have like 260 with like 20 something?
It just wasn't your
A bad,
traditional
and that is a
Goldie.
Paul Goldschmidt bad year. I think that should show
Bad
you the
Paul
talent that he
Goldschmidt.
is.
Goldie's
Yeah,
been Goldie's been the premier first
Yeah,
baseman.
he hit 260. All right, so he had 260 last year, which, by the way, Pete Alonso hit 260 as well. He had 34 homers and drove in 99 runs, scored 99 runs, and played 161 games.
Yeah, he's third on my list. I don't.
Yeah,
I'm anybody's arguing.
I'm just saying if he has a normal Goldschmidt year over this next calendar year, I think he's the only person that could push Freddie Freeman for number 1 right away.
Yeah.
Push.
And then honestly, after Goldschmidt, I think the first base position falls off. I'm not a huge Rizzo fan.
That was dope.
So I still have him at 5. I'm just not a huge.
Well, there's a lot of like.
I'll tell you what, nobody mentioned him, and he has the chance to be there in a year if he repeats, is Josh Bell.
Yep.
He had a bad second
Josh
half.
Bell's sitting on one strong half. That's all he's got.
He's a
Bad
monster.
second half of the
Say
season.
that to his face, he'll make you look like Flat Stanley, mate.
All right. Moving on to the second base position. MLB had Marte, LeMahieu, Altuve, Albies, and Brandon Lau.
Marte as in Ketel Marte?
Ketel Marte, correct. Former Dirty Terrapin, Brandon Lau.
So is he slotted in to play second base this year?
Lau?
Because they have – no, I don't care about Lau. It's Ketel.
No.
Well, they just traded for the other Marte to play center, so I would
That's
assume.
what
he
they
could play left.
that's what MLB.com has. So
I put Cattell at second.
I'd put Ketel at second as well.
So Knack Daddy, why don't you lead us off? What do you got for your 2 Bs?
So second base, I hated to do it. I wanted to kill myself, but I put Altuve at 1. I put Albies at 2, LeMahieu at 3, Marte 4, and then probably more of a hot take, but I really like Mike Moustakas, so I threw him in at 5. I just think he's like an all-around good player, has good on-base percentage, just does what you want for the team. So that was my take.
It's so weird thinking that he's a second baseman now. Like I feel like the trend in baseball would be to go from second to third, not third to second.
Right.
Robbie Cano eventual transition, but
No.
It makes more sense because he's just losing.
I hope something happens to him where he can't play baseball anymore. Not that he dies, but that he just can't play baseball anymore.
Corona.
I had Moustakas in there too because I had Muncie as like my question mark of like where are we putting him, but now that we decided for that Muncie's a second baseman.
First baseman.
First.
We decided he's a
You said
first
first.
baseman because of Gavin Lux.
Fair, whatever.
We're just gonna annually say that Max Muncy is up there and a good player, and we don't know where to put him first or second.
I put him at second base for this. So I went with Ketel at 1. I went DJ 2, Altuve 3, Albies 4, Ozzy Albies at 4, and Muncie at 5. I just think Muncie's got a sick left-handed swing, and It just fits with that Dodgers lineup so well.
Yeah, mine's very similar. I gave y'all boy the nod. I mean, everyone was doubting him and coming from Colorado to New York, and to me, he got snubbed of a potential MVP finalist. I think LeMahieu is the best second baseman in baseball.
You're
I
damn
mean,
right.
he's a consistent Gold Glove second baseman. Batting title contender every single year. People doubted what he was going to do from Colorado to New York. Proved it. If anything, I thought he was more deserving of an MVP finalist than Marcus Semien. So I went LeMahieu 1. I went Altuve 2, as much as it sucks. I went Marte 3, Albies 4, and then I had Muncy in 5 on mine.
It's also going to be good for DJ, though, because he's actually going to be able to stay at second base all year this year. He's not going to have to move between first, third, second.
Let's do with that team, brother.
Although he played a ridiculous first base. If you watch some of the Yankee highlights, some of them are like sick defensive plays and then him making a pick at first base.
If you're
Gleyber Torres, terrible throws.
Yeah. They low-key should play him at short.
He doesn't have the arm to play short, in my opinion.
Yes, he played third base. He can play shortstop.
Yeah, he did play third, Trev. And
I don't, in my opinion, like
he doesn't have the range.
That's the thing.
I don't think Gleyber has the range either.
It's the lesser of two evils.
It's just because Gleyber came up playing shortstop.
Yeah.
That was Gleyber's true position. He came over from the Cubs as a shortstop, so they're just going to put him at where he's comfortable.
Scares me to think about that they're genuinely going to have a hole there, and the Indians are trying to get rid of Lindor. It scares me to think about that shit.
What, Lindor coming over?
Yeah.
I don't think they will. I think they're going to give Gleyber every opportunity. The only thing is they might sign him after the next year if they can't bring DJ back. It's the only possibility, in my opinion.
I don't picture the Yankees letting LeMahieu leave.
DJ needs to be signed for the rest of his life.
Especially with the question marks with Andujar and
Gio,
because he's just not that good. I don't care about how good he did last year.
I honestly don't see any way Gio has the same year.
Like, I was on 3 teams the year before. There's a reason why he was on 3 MLB teams the year before.
Tony, go ahead.
All right, yeah, I also had DJ at number 1. Then I could tell Jose Altuve, Albies, and I had Keston Hiura at 5.
Ooh, a little future stars action. Maybe a next decade type player.
I mean, he's got the pop. He can play decent.
He's so good. He has very good upside.
Go ahead, Billy.
So I got DJ, and then Cattell, Altuve, Albies. And if he could get the at-bats there, just because I don't really know what position he's going to play, I would have thrown Jeff McNeil in there. But since I don't really think he'll play second base too much just because of Cano, I did throw Moustakas in at 5 as well.
I had McNeil at 3rd. Is that what we're –
I have McNeil.
I think McNeil's a third baseman this year.
Well, he came up as second baseman, but he's a projected third baseman based on the roster.
Yeah, it's like Muncy. It's like putting Muncy at first.
Yes.
Yeah, it's based off roster construction.
Yep. Go ahead, Harry.
So I also had DJ at number 1. I had Ketel Marte at 2. I had Jose Altuve at 3. I had Ozzy Albies at 4, and I'm riding the Moose train. Moustakas at 5. I thought I'd be the only one, and then all of a sudden Nat goes, "Oh, I got a stunning pick of Moustakas." I'm like, holy fuck, I did that too.
He's gonna have a fun time hitting in Cincinnati.
Oh, with that short porch and right, he's gonna.
Dude,
he's already been there for a year, hasn't he?
No.
He
was at
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. 4 years, $64 million. He's been with Milwaukee last 2 years.
Yeah, no, he's gonna. The Reds are gonna be sick in my opinion.
Can Senzel play short?
He can play like everywhere.
Senzel got drafted as a third baseman, but then I think they moved him to center.
He's been an outfield center, but I don't know
the plan. I think that's what
they're. I'm just saying, after this year, halfway through this year, they're going to be in the market for a shortstop. So.
They already done business with Cleveland.
Frankie?
The
Reds
get Frankie, they will be scary.
Then they traded Trammell to San Diego, right?
They did. That was part of the – that was what that – him and Puig is what they gave up for Bauer.
Yeah.
Didn't they get another prospect, though, too?
I know Franmil Reyes.
I think it was a barely – he was a barely –
that was different, I think, Will. Oh, no.
Reyes was part of the Power trip.
Ramil Reyes, yeah.
Yeah, he went from San Diego to.
We will scoot on over to third base now. The Shredder had it as Bregman, Rendon, Arenado, Chapman, Neal.
Harrison, show your hat to the camera. We need Cap for the Shredder, man.
The Shredder.
What specifically are we capping? What's
The Shredder.
The fact that Nolan Arenado is the best third baseman in baseball, and they have him at 3.
So
yeah, all right.
I will go first here. My 3 are the same. It's the same 5.
Just different order.
Different order, and that's Arenado, Bregman, Rendon, Chapman, McNeil.
Y'all was sleeping on the former MVP, bro.
I got
Bryant.
Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, I got Arenado, Rendon, Bregman, Matt Chapman, and Eugenio Suarez. I mean, how you gonna put Bregman ahead of Rendon when he outperformed him last year and in the postseason?
Bregman's just been a better, has better regular season stats.
I wonder why.
Fair. That's a fair point.
All right, mine's Arenado, Rendon, Bregman, Chris Bryant, and Jeff McNeil.
I'll also put this out there. Leading up until all this bullshit, I was the biggest Bregman fan.
I still like Bregman.
I think he's a cheating scumbag. I think they're all cheating scumbags, but I've watched him since he was in college, and I was a huge Bregman fan.
The skill's always going to be there. It's just there's so much controversy with these past few years. But, yeah, he's still a good baseball player. That's why I put him at number 3.
Damn.
Jimmy, did you go?
Yeah, I just listed mine off.
Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I agree. If you don't have Nolan as number 1, you're just an idiot. Bregman, too, as much as I hate him, I've hated him before all this bullshit happened. Just think he's a smug, cocky asshole.
Yeah, but if he's on the Yankees, y'all would absolutely love that dude.
Sucking his dick every day.
I'd love that bat in the lineup. Just saying.
I'm not gonna lie. It's entirely because he's something Astros.
I fucking hope so.
Rendon 3, Matt Chapman, the only guy that challenges Nolan for best defensive third baseman, and guy that hasn't been mentioned, Manny Machado.
No.
I actually want to put this out there. I was talking to my friend, another one of my buddies, about the WBC.
Wait. Shout him out. Give him a shout out.
Oh, it's my boy Cam. We went to Southern Vermont together. But would you, if you're making a lineup for the WBC,
which has been canceled?
Yeah, I was supposed to go. I already had hotel reservations and stuff.
Who would you have playing defensively at third base?
Arenado.
Manny Machado's from the DR. You wouldn't have that controversy.
I thought it was PR.
Whatever. He's not from America, so we don't have to put that into a sentence. He's Dominican.
We're talking about the U.S. team. The U.S. team. Are you playing?
No, Arenado is playing. Arenado was on the team when they won it. Arenado's getting that nod.
Over Chapman, yeah.
Are you playing Arenado or Chapman at third base?
Arenado.
No.
I disagree. I'm putting Matt Chapman at third base.
Yeah, but I ain't afraid to pitch him Matt Chapman.
Letting Arenado hit. I think my
You know how, Trev, how loaded that roster was supposed to be this year? You can accept the .220 difference in defense for Arenado's bat and then stick a Bellinger or a Mike Trout or a Mookie Betts or a Pete Alonso in that lineup instead of Matt Chapman.
Get him in the Worlds or the Olympics and they'll all play, according to Bryce Harper at least.
Bryce Harper.
Shut up. Go ahead, Harry.
All right. Arenado, he has to be number 1. I took Rendon over Bregman. So Rendon 2, Bregman is 3. I have Chapman at 4, and Willie, I'm with you. I think Machado is being slept on. Just one bad year, and San Diego doesn't define how great of a player he is.
It will. He's there for the next 8 years.
Knack Daddy.
I feel like I'm gonna get some shit, but I had Arenado at 1, Chapman at 2. I didn't even put Bregman on the list. I really don't like Bregman, to be honest.
Oh, Harry, show the cap.
I love
Harry,
that.
show the cap. Trevor, the cap. We gotta be capper. Knack Daddy, the capper.
I put Rendon at 3, Chris Bryant at 4. I mean, he didn't have as good of a year in 2017, but he had a bounce back year last year, I think, and I think that could carry over. And then number 5, The
McHitch,
bearded
baby.
wonder himself, Justin Turner.
Ooh.
That's a
Mr.
hot take, but
Consistency.
it's
Nah,
not
he's consistent.
a bad take. It's hot, but it's not bad.
Listen. I would respect the shit out of you for not putting Bregman on it if you didn't put Altuve on yours.
Yeah,
Can't go, you can't go both ways.
my thing
Yeah, that's
I
what I'm
think-
saying.
with Altuve,
Listen, if anything, Bregman is still a better baseball player than Altuve, so Altuve
That's
shouldn't
Look
have
at
been
the
on.
no,
weakness.
look,
Wow.
can I talk? Can I talk? My thing with Altuve is I think he has an it factor that a lot of players don't have. Like when that man is on the field, he is like consistently changing how the game is played. And like
Aroldis Chapman's kryptonite.
Billy, I just yeah.
Trev's still holding up the cab.
Trev, say what you want, buddy, but I do think Altuve is a game
It's
changer.
really up for opinion, man.
Listen,
I mean, listen,
I get that the podcast name is Embrace Debate.
listen, Trev. Before you go on, who says Bregman doesn't fall off a cliff this year?
Who says Chris Bryant doesn't fall off a cliff this year?
He did fall off a cliff, kind of.
He already did.
Exactly. He already fell off a cliff.
What does that have to do with
Bregman is
Alex
better
Bregman?
than Chris Bryant.
He had a good year last year.
Statistically,
282, 31 home runs.
Good math.
all right, move on.
Yeah,
Move on
Stats.
to the shortstop
Stats, not
position.
cap. All right, and if anyone doesn't have Lindor one, you can hit that leave meeting button on the bottom right.
Then Harry, I need you to.
All
Harry, I
right,
need
and
you to take off
I'll
your
just rip
cap.
this Band-Aid off. I think the top three is very interchangeable.
Not one is not interchangeable.
Harry, I think you
Oh,
need
it
to
is.
rip off your cap for this one because the Shredder has
Baez,
Story as the number one shortstop,
Oh, yeah.
followed by Lindor, Baez, Simeon, and Xander Bogaerts.
I don't even have Simeon on my list.
I just think it's very interchangeable at the top
So,
three.
Willie, with you saying that, go right ahead. Who's your five?
I do think Lindor is best, but I do think the case could very easily be made for Story or Baez.
I mean, yeah, but bottom line is if you compare Lindor's stats and then it's always going to be compared to Story playing in Colorado.
The basic
and
question behind this is who is the top five players that you would choose to start a franchise?
Well, my answers would be different if that was the case.
Age would
Sorry,
have played.
I'm sorry. I'm taking a 37-year-old Justin Verlander just had shoulder surgery. That is not the list we're doing.
At the specific position, I'm saying.
All right.
That's like I 35-year-old Justin Turner at third base.
Wait, is this the top five players? Don't confuse the people.
Or
right,
Tre-
so
or
anyway, back to my point.
don't confuse Harry.
Very
Please.
interchangeable at my
God.
top three of Lindor, Story, Baez. I've stated this to people. I'm very aboard the Fernando Tatis Jr. bandwagon. I just think he's an absolute stud, and he's a five-tool player. I put Simeon on the list out of respect, just because he did get in that MVP discussion. I think if Glaber can prove that he's an average defender, he could sneak in there. Bogarts is a below-average defender, but he's in
So is
that.
Glaber.
That's what I just said. I just said if he can improve his
He did.
defense,
He literally said.
You did say that.
10
I'm not
seconds ago.
saying he's not, but I'm not saying he didn't say that. I think
I'm saying
Bogart's
him,
better.
he could sneak into that top five
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
much this coming year, but I do have Simeon at that 5 spot right now.
Go ahead, Harry.
Well, I did go with Lindor at 1.
Smart man.
Switch hitting, power, consistent hitting on both sides, and he's a plus fielder, and he's also got some speed. So I couldn't argue. 2,
Not in the
San
MLB, the
Diego
show he
studio.
doesn't.
Yeah.
2, I went Story. I think that he has the best power of any shortstop in baseball, and I think that the best is yet to come for him. 3, I went Javi Baez. He has been the one shining hope for the Cubs over the last 2 seasons over so much crazy shit that's going on there. 4, I went with the Fernando Tatis route. I think in 3 years, he will be the best shortstop in baseball. And he put up some insane numbers last year. Hitting.
Yeah, I've said this to Jimmy, and he really doesn't like it. But I think if Tatis
that's
stayed
right.
healthy, he very much easily could have won Rookie of the Year.
Could have. I probably would say that Alonso still would have won, but, I mean, it would have been a closer contest. And then 5, you mentioned him, Willie, but only as an honorable mention, I think Xander Bogaerts has been slept on for a long time. I'm saying this as a Yankee fan. him and Devers were the two guys I feared most in that Red Sox lineup. It wasn't Mookie and it wasn't or JD Martinez.
I'm gonna get into some Mookie things that are gonna make people real pissed off later.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in about 5 minutes. But Xander has been shockingly. He was on the 2013 World Series team.
Yeah, he's been around for a minute.
been
He was
around for a
He was the third baseman on that team, wasn't he?
Yeah, I was just watching the Jeter retirement ceremony at Fenway, and he was there.
He was there
Yeah,
the year before.
I think Xander was the third baseman that year. They were
Was
in World
he
Series.
like 19 when he came up?
Something on those lines because he's
19 or 20?
Late 20. I think he was 20.
I think he's like 27. He's been in the league forever, but he has finally grown into the potential that he's shown, and he is the second best shortstop in the AL.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go next because mine was spot on with Harrison. I went Lindor, Story, Baez, Tatis Jr., and Bogarts. I think the only player that hasn't been mentioned yet, it hurts me to say it, but I just know he torments my New York Mets is Trey Turner. I just think he's different.
Damn it.
The guy gets on base, bro. I think every time he's ever been on base, he stole second against the Mets. It doesn't matter who's pitching. They could pitch it out, and the guy's still on second base.
Knack just has all these sleepers, and when they get taken, he gets so mad.
Dude, I thought that was a good sleeper.
I think the speed is a lost trait in baseball, and I just think – I mean, just put it this way. This dude came up as a shortstop, and they moved him to center field temporarily for a playoff push, and then now he's back as their everyday shortstop. To me, that shows versatility. He's a good hitter, too. I think he needs to be a little more consistent. And he showed juice baseballs, but he showed a little bit more pop last year. Yeah, so I think he's borderline top 5.
Second round of our fantasy draft.
That's just cat, but all
right. Did.
Like I said, that's cat.
Yeah. So, Jimmy stole my sleeper at 5. So I had Lindor, Story, Baez. That seems to be the consistent order of the 3. 4, Tatis as well. I really like Tatis. Gotta like the young talent. And then 5, I had Turner. He had a pretty good year last year, batting .298, had 35 stolen bases, 43 stolen bases the year before, consistently on base, consistent slugging. So I put him at 5. I thought he was a good sleeper. I took a lot of sleeper picks.
So I'll go with mine. I went Lindor, Baez, Story, consensus top 3 within the group. And then I went Tatis 4. And then I think Gleyber, just based upon his playoff performance last year, snuck into the top 5. But my sleeper this year –
He played short.
What?
He wasn't playing short.
Well, now he is playing short.
You put McNeil at 3rd, and he was playing 2nd, so stop.
He played 3rd last year.
He played mostly 2nd.
You're such a biased Mets fan. I can't even stand it.
Why? Because there's 5 to 8 shortstops that are better than Gleyber Torres.
And we have a shotgun to put for me to fucking throat fuck. Just end it. This is getting annoying.
Someone that I think could sneak in the top 5, especially if Gleyber isn't what we say he is Bo. I honestly think Bo is going to be nasty.
Dude, Harry. That's cat.
I was already on it.
I didn't put him in the top 5, but I think Bo could be disgusting. The man came
upside
and hit more doubles than any rookie.
Consistent, wasn't it? 10
Clearly, you watched every game they played against the Yankees. He hit it against the Yankees, but he didn't do quite the damage to the other team just compared to the Yankees.
I think Bo Bichette is going to be disgusting. Who hasn't gone? Tony hasn't gone.
All right, I got Lindor at the 1 spot. Then I got Story. Then I got Marcus Semien at 3. I mean, the dude had an 8.1 WAR last season, like 4th in MLB. Like, you can't argue that.
I think Javier Baez is overrated, but that's a different topic.
Yeah, I got Baez at 4, and then I do have Trey Turner at 5th with that speed and the sneaky pop all around here.
Wow. No Tatis. That's a shocker.
Tatis is my 6th.
Tatis played, 80 games last year? It's not really that big of a shocker for 1 year.
All right, now to the hotly debated outfield. Like I said,
you better let Will go first.
Let me take the lead.
He already gave us a tease.
Hold on. So basically, I had to compile the top 5 from MLBs because they did like left, center, and right. So from MLB, I have Trout is 1.
Oh, you got Trout at 1? Bold take.
This is from the MLB, butt munch. This is
Just keep going.
Trout is 1, Mookie is 2, Yelich is 3, Bellinger is 4, and Acuna is 5. According to the MLB's shredder.
Can I get this take off my chest or what?
Go right ahead, Will. Let's see what you got.
All right, so I have Trout 1. I'm not an idiot. Belly 2.
Also
Yelich
not an
3.
idiot.
I could argue this next player to be as high as 2. Aaron Judge. More defensive runs saved in the last 2 years than Mookie Betts. More UZR. So from 2017 to 2019, comparing their stats, Judge has about 60 less games. He has 20 more homers. His OBP is higher. His slugging's higher. His OPS is higher. His weighted runs created plus is higher. Here's the fact.
You pissed off Tony. He had to leave.
And then my other stat, Mookie Betts is flat out a 1-year wonder. 1-year outlier of that he just completely went off. His weighted runs created plus in 2014, 129, 15, 120, 16, 136, 17 all the way down to 107. He skyrocketed up to 185, and then he dropped down to 135. I just flat out think Mookie Betts is overrated.
So who's your top 5?
My top 5.
Better question.
Mike Trout, Bellinger, Yelly, Judge, Mookie.
Wait, you did all that just to put Judge one spot ahead of Mookie Betts?
And Mookie at 5.
I mean,
Mookie's still in the top 5.
Yeah, but I mean, I could sneak Acuna in there if you really want me to.
No. Stop.
Nah, I mean,
Get some
do what you want. It's your choice.
Acuna is not even the best outfielder in that division.
Jimmy, go ahead. Who's your top 5?
All right, so any mental capacitive person would put Mike Trout first, so I'm gonna join that trade. I have Yelich second. I just think he's more consistent than Bellinger.
He stinks in the field.
And MLB The Show, he stinks in the field.
No, his defensive runs saved are like negative.
I mean, yes,
He actually
but
cost his team.
I'm not gonna say he's not a better defender than Bellinger. To me, it's just he's more consistent offensively and has that the last 3 or 4 years in a row where Bellinger was up, down, and back up again last year. So then I have Bellinger 3. I have Mookie Betts at 4 and Juan Soto at 5.
Tony?
All right. I have the hiccups currently, so don't mind that. But I got Mike Trout at 1, Yelich at 2, Bellinger at 3, Betts at 4, and Acuna at 5.
All right, we'll get Tony out of the way. Tony's done. Harry, what do you got?
Pretty similar to everybody else's. Trout 1, obviously. I went Yelich over Bellinger. Same reason Jimmy said. The hitting is more consistent. Since he's been traded in Milwaukee, he has been the second best hitter in all baseball. So I had to go with him. Probably if you take the combined 2 seasons, because Trout missed so much time, he may have been the best player. Who knows? But I would go Bellinger 3. I went with Betts at 4 and then Judge at 5. Although 4, they were a toss-up, but the reason I went with Betts over Judge, and it pains me to say this, Judge is not reliable. He gets
Can I ask something to
injured way too much.
to both you and Billiam?
Yep.
That's more likely the Billy kid over there. Why do you think Aaron Judge is a better defensive player if Mookie Betts continues to win the Gold Glove over him?
He doesn't play enough games. He only plays like 100 games a season.
If he qualified last year, he would have won.
And that's why I don't put him ahead of Betts, because he just doesn't play enough. He gets –
But that's in my opinion the only argument. The only argument in my opinion is that Aaron Judge can't stay on the field.
That's like
also
He's had he's had 2 very fluky injuries. 1, he busted his wrist, and 2, he broke his first rib.
He broke his first rib in September and had surgery last month in March.
Get your face out of the camera.
I want to make sure the emphasis is there.
I can see your tongue through your tooth when you get that close.
Oh,
You can see it anyways.
That's a cheap shot. Why would you?
Mac Daddy, what do you got?
I'm gonna take some hate again, but I had Trout at 1.
I thought you were about to say Bellinger was 1, and I was about
No. I have Trout at 1, Bellinger 2, Yelich 3, Soto 4, and Acuna 5.
There's no Betts or Judge.
Yeah. And I'm a Yankees fan. I'm a huge Yankees fan.
Now,
Uh,
saying of what Knack just said.
I was throwing up both Betts and Judge. Judge for me, I feel like it's the inconsistencies. I kind of agree with that. Like from constantly watching games. Maybe that's just like from always watching him, but he does have his inconsistencies. And then Betts, I just kind of hate the Red Sox, so I took him out. He's not the Red Sox anymore.
Aaron Judge is the Klay Thompson of baseball. When he's hot, he's may be the best hitter in baseball, but when he's cold, it is really tough to watch.
Well, that was the big
Hard to
point.
They both play really good defense too.
I remember
That's true as well.
Harrison.
I remember watching the Shredder show, and they said Judge is probably the best right fielder if he can stay on the field. And for the Shredder, even in the year Mookie won the MVP, Judge was the number 1 rated right fielder in the league.
That's fine, but you're talking about number 1 right fielder in the American League, right? Not in baseball.
No, it wasn't baseball.
Well, is Bellinger
In 17,
playing right field, or is he going to move to center?
Bellinger's going to play.
Bellinger's moving to center.
This is an outfield list, though.
Yeah, this is
I forgot about Yelich.
But yeah, Judge was – so for the Shredder in 17 and 18, Judge was the number 1 right fielder in the league.
It's not. I mean, it's not far. He's not far off. To me, it's just kind of like, obviously not to the severity of it, but like what y'all are feeling with Judge is kind of like what I've been dealing with Cespedes over the last couple of years. Obviously, like I said, not to the same severity, but like the talent and like when he's healthy and mashing, like he carries your baseball team, but he's just unreliable at this point. And that goes with Giancarlo Stanton as well.
My biggest thing with Judge, too, is like I feel like it took a year or two for pitchers really to figure out how to pitch to him, too. Yeah, he has the power to put the ball 500 feet, but you get that breaking ball low in the zone, it can be really tough for him to get a piece of.
Harry, what the
On top of that, his eyes can be a little sketchy at times. He does strike out a lot.
Well, Judge also has a very, very, very negative trait for baseball, and that's being tall.
Give me the robot umps just for Aaron Judge, and we'd be cooking.
Yeah.
Let me finish. I went Trout because I have a brain. Bellinger is 2.
Reasoning.
Breaking news, I have a brain. Bellinger's 2. I have Yelich at 3.
Got the notification says.
Yeah, the CNN just put it on my phone.
I have Acuna at 4 and Soto at 5. I don't have Judge in my top 5.
Is it because he's doing like .056 on your Diamond Dynasty team?
He's actually .086. I took him out of the today. I replaced him with Players League Gallo in right field. But no, I just don't. I'm with Harry. He's too inconsistent for me. Not staying on. If he was on the field, he was playing.
If we're assuming health,
with the
like you guys said, he's arguably number 2.
He is number 2. Healthy.
He's the number 2 outfielder in the game.
No,
if he's not hurt.
Still not better. I mean, arguably. See, if everyone's fully healthy and at their best, I'm still taking Yelich.
Well, with the Yankees,
that's fine. I can't argue.
Numbers in the sample size of the last 3 years are literally still better than Belly and Yelich.
But with the way Boone manages, 150 games is a full season for a player. Like they're getting like 140 day off a week on top of the day off they're already getting. I need to see Judge on the field at least 140 plus games for him to even sniff. I won't say sniff, but for him to be a serious top 5 guy.
Mookie won an MVP playing 130 games.
Yeah. Yep. We will finish off with the DHs. The Shredder did not have DH rankings, but I know we came up with DH rankings. Does anyone want to go first?
I'll go first because I might surprise some people.
Okay.
So with the first one, and this one's gonna shock a rookie, Yordan Alvarez scares the fuck out of me. Yordan Alvarez, he is the second coming of Carlos Delgado, and he mashes balls farther than any player any left-handed hitter I've seen.
Maybe the Mets will get him like they got Carlos Delgado.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe. I would be really pissed because he's –
have fun figuring out a spot for him to play in the field.
Yeah, right.
That's
What?
why he's your DH.
That's why he's on the DH list, Willie.
Yes.
Universal
Second,
DH in your doc.
Breaking
Second-
news, Billy does not have a brain.
oh my, that doesn't even
Hey,
that's
I
not
was-
even
I
newsworthy.
was just- I was contesting Jimmy's point of the Mets signing him, all right?
Whatever. Just let me finish my list. Shut up, Willie. I will go, and then I'm gonna go with JD Martinez 2. I'm gonna take Stanton when he is healthy. He is the third best DH in the league. I'm gonna take Nelson Cruz 4. This one, you got mentioned earlier when we were talking about trade. Franmil Reyes is gonna be the starting DH for the Indians this year. He's gonna put up some big numbers in that ballpark. I think he can hit over 40 home runs.
Fun fact: the best DH I've ever played with is actually in this podcast. That'd be William Thomas, best DH of all time. He literally told it to us on PlayStation the other day. Our coach came up to him, 18U, and was like, "Hey, you want DH for the rest of the year?" And Will was like, "Sure, why
I
not?"
played the field again. It was wonderful.
Never played the field again.
I was born for it. Catch me in beer league softball. Best DH world's ever seen.
No,
You have
I'm
to play
DH.
first. You have to play first.
I'm DHing this year.
No,
I mean, no.
Kid,
It's
I'm-
gonna be
No.
Harry, so he doesn't tear anything.
you're a PO.
This right here. is
Harrison's a
best
second
DH.
Harrison's a second baseman, so he doesn't pull a hammy in left center again.
They're true.
He
That's a man
doesn't
looking out
play
for a
left
friend.
because don't check the state finals.
Can I play 2B? I play 2B.
We can leave it. We can leave it. We can leave a link to the video into the in the comments.
I'll actually go.
Just put Harrison in a body bag.
I'll actually go. My number one DH, I have JD. I have Jordan at 2. I like Jordan. He scares the shit out of me, but I hate him at the same time. Or I love him at the same time. Sorry. I have Nelson Cruz at 3. I'm only saying I gotta go, but this one's gonna be out there. Jorge Soler. From the Royals. I think he had 40.
Wasn't he a right fielder?
Yeah.
Who?
Soler.
I put Soler on my list too, just because I kind of put together guys who could feature as a DH throughout the season as well.
Well,
'cause
if
I
that was
thought
the case, then I'll be honest. I would have gone with Austin Meadows 5.
Yeah, Austin Meadows would have made my list too. But
But I'll put Soler at 4, and then I'll go Stanton at 5. Meadows would make my list too, but I consider him a full-time outfielder.
I agree. I mean,
They have
mine's
Jose
pretty
Martinez
similar.
now, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true. You got me there.
Yeah. Mine's pretty similar. I have JD 1. I threw Joey Gallo in it just because I wanted to put Joey Gallo on my list somewhere.
that was a good fielder though.
Shout out
Oh.
Joey Gallo.
He's
Yeah,
not
but he
probably-
just does.
he's there
he
every
just
day
doesn't-
right fielder.
I know, but he just didn't fit into the top 5, and I wanted to give him a shout out. So shout out to Joey Gallo. I also had Soler on mine, and then I went Jordan and Giancarlo. I do like Harrison's. Before I added Gallo, I had Franmil Reyes on mine as well. I think he has pretty good upside in Cleveland.
I got one that might surprise some guys. I got JD at the 1 spot, Jordan at 2, Cruz at 3, Stanton at 4, and then I put Shohei Ohtani at the 5th spot.
Oh, Ohtani.
Oh, I
Nani
didn't
san.
think about
Will's favorite player, Shohei Ohtani.
When he's not on the bump this year, he'll be hitting bombs.
Go ahead, Nick.
All right, so I had JD at 1, Giancarlo at 2, Jordan at 3, Nelson Cruz at 4, and then I put Austin Meadows at 5. I mean, he does play DH sometimes. I know he plays left and right field, but I thought he was good enough to sit
yeah.
on top.
I mean, the
So-
only reason why he's not going to be in the DH role this year is because Jose Martinez
Jose Martinez.
Tampa Bay. And Renfro.
Well, I think if he
Yeah,
has a good
Renfro too.
Renfro will probably play.
Renfro.
yeah, but I'm talking about I'd rather have Meadows out there.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I didn't put him in because I didn't think he was going to play enough DH.
All right, boys. I thought that went swimmingly. There was not as bad as we originally thought it was going to go.
Well, we thought we were originally going to do top 10, and I mean, God, we'd be
the
here.
top 10 would have taken
We'd
forever.
only be on second base probably right now.
Yeah, we're at an hour 15 right
Someone
now.
would be arguing about Keston Hurrah, whatever to pronounce his name.
Maria.
Hurrah, that's it. I don't know my.
Like gonorrhea, but with an H and no
He was
Ghana.
on Future Stars last year in MLB.
Jimbo would be trying to sneak every Met in at every position. She's like, oh, Dad, going to take a flyer here on
Number
Brandon
10,
Nimmo."
Ahmed Rosario. He gave me a
Alright.
shout out on Twitter. What?
Listen. I didn't
He follows
stretch
me on Twitter,
any
just like
Mets.
Jose Bautista.
You didn't stretch any Mets today, and I'm proud of you for that.
I'm proud of that as well. There were none.
Judge.
So next week we talked about this in our group chat. Let's figure this out now. And see if we get any feedback about it. Do we want to do the next decade draft next time?
I'm good
I
with
mean,
whatever.
I mean, personally,
if
I
we're
think
gonna do it, we gotta in our free time kind of put limits and limitations.
So what I wanted to do was
Maybe have like
6 of us again.
Will and Trevor do a team together, Knack and Tony, me and Harrison, or vice versa.
That's what I was thinking of doing is having 3 different teams, and then whoever your GM, like your co-GM is, you would talk about it during the week, and then we'll just snake it. So if Knack and Harry have the first pick, me and Will would go second, then you and Tony would go third, and you would also have the 4. And we'll just keep going back and forth. We'll fill every position, 2 starters, a reliever, and then 1 at each position, and then it would
Go
be
2-2.
utility.
let's so we could even put a poll up on our Instagram, or you could comment on our YouTube. The other idea that we're gonna have was being that this weekend, this Sunday's episodes 9 and 10, the last 2 episodes of The Last Dance, we thought we'd do a review of the Last Dance documentary and the whole thing, and also look back at some basketball in the 90s, 2000s. We talk about modern day stuff and talk just anything that you guys want to hear about that. So we'll probably put it on Instagram and whatever you guys want to hear next.
So actually, since Last Dance is this Sunday, the final one, we will record. We want to say Monday night, just so it's right there. We have our reactions right there.
I'm chilling Sunday at 11:30, but
that's always a possibility.
Maybe possibly
it's authentic reactions.
Maybe possibly a week with 2 drops.
I'm down for 2
Monday
drops.
night drop of Last Dance.
I do want to say we do have another possible podcast member.
A special guest.
Yeah.
No, not a special guest. He's joining for good.
Yeah.
Let's not reveal any names.
We're not going to reveal any names. We have a 7th member.
I do say I think next week would be a good week to do Last Dance, some NBA stuff, and bring in the new member of the squad.
All right. Well, all right. So you hear us? Give us your feedback on what you guys think.
We may have a double drop next week.
That could be true as well.
May have a double drop.
Because this guy was supposed to
Really
come on tonight.
Our listeners' balls here, boys.
I mean, it's tickling my balls right now. I feel pretty good about this. Not gonna lie. But yeah, Sunday night, 9 and 10 of Last Dance. We'll be talking about it. Record hopefully that as soon as we can. Get some NBA stuff out for you, and then we'll do that. We're gonna call it the next decade draft. Basically, who you think is gonna be the best, or building a team for the next 10 years. Who would you want on it? And we'll go from there. We'll pick teams. We'll figure out how the teams would be even, and then we'll determine the draft order. We'll figure it all out for you, and then we'll live record the draft. Boys, anything else?
I mean, I'd say if we have the special guest, we could add another guest to make it 4 teams potentially.
Well, that wouldn't be for. I don't know if he would be.
You don't think he would do MLB?
He may just be our basketball expert.
He's a big basketball.
I mean, I could probably convince him, but
he would do football too. But I don't think he wants.
He's gonna do football too. He said he's in for basketball, football.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It is Adrian Wojnarowski, so look out for that.
The other thing, too, boys, I was looking at it is, all of us are big PlayStation guys. We can do live streams of our PlayStation. If someone's on and they want to live stream, they want to do MLB. Like I know Will and Tony are big into playing ranked seasons with MLB. If we want to do some of that stuff, we can do head-to-head gameplay against each other. Knack's big into COD. That doesn't really work in the Embrace the Basics.
And I just last night we're in a online My League. If we meet each other in the playoffs, we could definitely live stream those games.
That is the thing we've also talked about too, is doing an Embrace Debate Pro-Am team when 2K21 comes out. We could do it for 2K20, but Jimmy doesn't have it for PlayStation.
Yeah, I do.
I do not.
I
have PlayStation, not the game.
Tony, do you have it? I could game share it with you, Harry.
I'm not playing 2K20. I'm not putting in effort to play my player.
All right,
little
so
late.
that's going to start
All-Star
2
team
games.
up.
That's more like towards October, but
Team up would be fun.
we're going to have
You're playing PGA 2K21, baby.
That's true too. That's going to be heat. That's going to be heat. I can't wait.
I'll
For that.
also take anyone on in FIFA for money. Anyone here. I don't care who it is.
Me and Jimmy have played NHL together too, so NHL could be a possibility.
That shit's
MLB,
so fun.
NHL.
Fortnite.
No, we're not doing Fortnite on our sports podcast.
Oh,
We suck too much, let's be honest.
Yeah, we're trash. We're too. We'll stick to the
Meat shield till I
Trev the
die.
Fat Man on Twitch, by the way. Quick plug.
do they let you back on Twitch?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm back on
nice.
his PlayStation account.
Let me back on my PlayStation account.
All right, boys. Let's wrap this up.
All right, so we will see you maybe early next week, maybe. Definitely on Sunday when this dropped. You're listening to it now, but maybe possibly again early next week with Last Dance reaction. So, boys, signing off, and I'll catch you guys later.
Like, subscribe, comment.
Please
Hammer it.
follow on Instagram. Embrace Debate Pod.
Hammer it.
Peace.